So I still feel a lot of anger about being misled with the protein diets. I took it to the extreme, and I just I did it for too long. I have my regrets. I wish I would have taken more time to learn what the proper way to eat was. I read I screw up just wild westing my diets early on and get into trouble with the Air Force. Nearly lost a rank for being obese. So I find the book Protein Power and turn things around, but I take it to the extreme, way too far with just meats and cheeses and anything high in protein, low in sugar. And so I cut out the vegetables, and that cost me bad. My blood circulation really did struggle. Especially, it was noticeable in winter because I was having a lot of hard time trying to stay warm. And it was because I was not eating foods that supported keeping warm. And I just had blood circulation issues. But I mean, because I was in my 20s, I just didn't really realize how bad that was. And then I start tailoring off. It took 5 years. It took about 5 years, and then I start tailoring off the protein diet without really learning anything new, just experimenting, getting bits and pieces. In fact, I was getting off it a little bit based on the information I was getting from herbs. I come across this herbal book, Harvesting from the Wilds, Getting Wild Herbs, and that started getting me off the protein diet. And I was like, wow, there's phytochemicals that do all these weird things and raise testosterone, lower testosterone, raise estrogen, make you go to sleep, wake you up, make you feel better when you're sick or something a little bit. Then I learn about magnet therapy, but that really isn't diet related. I thought I could manipulate food with the magnets, and uh, not too impressed. Not for the long run. I'm not too impressed with that. Making water wetter. Not too impressed. Not too impressed with the herbs either so much. So the protein diets was pretty strong. I hit that pretty hard. I hit the herbs pretty hard. I hit the magnet therapy pretty hard. While I was learning about magnet therapy, I also played around with fermentation, but I took that too far and gave it up. In my early 30s, I think it was in large part because I turned to trying to ferment milk and meats. I was trying to work with protein still in the fermentation process with milk, and what really was my turning point was making my throat so messed up, and I was getting this croaky feeling in my throat. I was making noises. It was changing the lining of my throat. This well, not really yogurt, fermented milk or something. The whey, it was just too strong on my throat. So I gave that up and went for 10 years of making bad choices. I couldn't eat right, and I was struggling, and my health was not getting any better. I kept trying to turn back the cheese every 6 months, 7 months, and so just every time now, and it just gets worse. Cream cheese, anything of a creamy nature, even egg yolks make me feel like I got a brick in my heart now. I can't deal with it. I had pork today, and I think that's a whole pound of it. and I was eating like a pound at a time, and I felt good. But eating pork today was just, it was so dull, and I felt regret. It smelled like rotten blood, and it was dull. I just I'm thinking this protein diet's catching up with me. It's really got me concerned that I put so much effort into eating steaks and eggs and bacon and all the protein, all the meats, and without any vegetables. I really struggled. I mean, I wasn't getting fat. I wasn't putting on the white fat. That made me feel kind of good. That maybe I was on the right track here, but now my circulation has struggled in the long term. And I just I wish I would have learned more about fermentation too. I wish I would have taken that plunge. Refrigeration really kept me away from fermentation. And it's like when I cooked potatoes, yeah, every so often I would turn to the Whole Foods. I'd be like, these potatoes ain't so bad. So I'd cook some, and then after a day, I'd be like, oh, I thought I could eat them every day, but it's hard to finish day two, day three. If I overcook and have leftovers, it's hard to finish those leftovers. And and that was in refrigeration. That was when I cook too many, threw the extra in the fridge, and then tried to go back and eat the fridge potatoes, and they're just not as good. So they'll sit there for a long period and get worse and worse. But now that I've discovered this fermentation, I overcook them and toss the excess into the ferment pot, and they get better. It's like throwing sour cream on the potato, but I'm throwing the potato in the fermentation pot, and it's like a natural sour cream without the heart the heart clogging cream. And it's like, wow, man, I wish I would have learned that. I wish I would have gotten into that habit a lot sooner. But I got a question, and I don't want a question, but what's the harm of fermentation? Like, it is hard on my throat. Am I bringing myself closer to cancer? I don't know. I think, well, the General Grant, who became in the 1860s, who became president and then got the throat cancer, he was drinking a lot of distilled alcohols, whiskey and stuff. I don't think he was consuming fermentations, the Whole Foods ferments. I think he was having a lot of distilled with the nutrients removed type of drinks that probably, and his smoking too. It probably led to his throat cancer. I'm thinking that maybe, and then like that study with the Arabs who were getting throat cancer from coffee, or they didn't know exactly what it was, but they found out that it was these Arabs were throwing coffee in the back of their throat, really hot coffee, and it was the heat. They're burning, they were scalding their throat because they had to drink that coffee when it was super hot, which led to their cancers. And I'm like, this fermentation is kind of burning my throat at times. It's hard to drink because it gets so sour, so acidic. But I'm thinking maybe that can be overcome with the nutrients. I mean, these are whole foods. I'm throwing entire apples into the ferment pot, letting them ferment, and then consuming them. It's not like I'm removing the nutrients and just trying to consume the acidity. It's everything. I'll consume the pulp and the liquid all together. It's a soup. It's a very sour soup it's pretty delicious, and all I got to do to lighten the sourness is add extra water, just dilute it. But it's just like, I'm just so frustrated about the high protein diet. It's just, I keep going back to that. I keep thinking about how I wish I would have gotten into learning nutrition better. I don't think college would have taught me about fermentation. I don't even think the professional fermenters are all that good at what they're doing. They're talking about adding salt and and you got to do everything perfect by the book with them. I like I like my loose strategy now. It seems to be working. I'm not getting problems with the fermentation. Just it's a little hard on the throat when I drink some, but overall it's been delicious, and it almost seems like it's ruined my taste for meat. Like that pork I had, I'm like, gosh, I kind of wish it was like fermented. How do you can't, I don't think you can pork. I don't think you can ferment pork either. I will say I'm a little frustrated about the extra fat that I've gained. I know that some's probably come from the honey. I've been turning to honey, but a little bit for this winter time. Just whenever it gets cold, I can consume more sugar. I also added it to my vegetable ferments out of frustration that they don't get sour enough. But I'm like, maybe I could try lemons. Maybe I'll turn away from the honey and try lemons for a little bit. Whatever ferment doesn't taste sour enough, I'll add lemon juice and see if maybe that can help. I don't think I want to turn to honey so much. It is a fattening thing, getting a little fat off of that. And some fruits can maybe make me a little fat, like dates, the high sugar type. People say potatoes are bad for you and stuff, but I don't know, maybe. But corn is kind of a fattening thing. I've been eating a little bit more corn. It doesn't hurt my heart at all, though. If it's if it's not going to hurt my heart and it's whole foods, I'm a little more interested in consuming that than meats. I still need to figure out how to get those omega-3s, and those you need fish. I stopped at this grocery store and everything's frozen for the fish products. It's a small grocery store and they have to freeze everything. That's a little difficult to work with. I don't, when I want to eat now and I got to deal with the frozen fish, that's something that has to be held off for tomorrow. But I don't know if I'll find a place to cook tomorrow, living in my car. And that's the only protein meat protein that I really want to focus on is fish. I think I had that pork today. I'm not proud of myself. A pound of pork. I'm not happy about the effects. I'm not happy with the smell. I'm not happy with the taste. I ate it all, a whole pound, $5 worth. I'm not happy with the results, and it just makes me think of how frustrating getting my diet straight has been. I mean, you gotta adjust, you gotta adapt to the conditions. You can't always get what you want. But I took things to the extreme. It wasn't a matter of taking what I could get for the local area. I rejected a lot of the good food just to stick with my principles at the time, which were flawed principles. Dr. Atkins died of a heart disease. So clearly that protein diets did not help more than keeping the weight down a little bit. And he was still a little on the heavy side, apparently. It's just, I think I might be on the right track now. I kind of felt like I was on the right track with the protein diet too, though. Still, so I gotta be skeptical of that.